Don't buy any 16 series GPUs in 2024, not because these GPUs perform badly in modern games, which I'm going to talk about later in this video, but I'm saying this because Nvidia is stopping all the driver support for GTX GPUs. Drivers help your hardware to talk with your software and operating system. Now, I'm not diving deep into this topic anymore. If you want to know more about that, let me know in the comment section. But now let's get back to the topic. GTX 16 series was very popular when they launched in 2019, and for very apparent reason. At a price of $279 or 25,699 Indian rupees for the 1660 Ti and $229 or 20,500 Indian rupees for the 1660 Super, both GPUs were very much suitable for 1080p high FPS high quality gaming or even some mid to high range 1440p gaming. Yes, they definitely lacked some features, for example the hardware which is capable for real-time ray tracing and also other AI features like DLSS and frame generation. But back in 2019, not every single game was utilizing the real-time ray tracing. And talking about DLSS, well, for lack of a better word, the first generation DLSS was bad. And in 2019, most popular games were Fortnite, PUBG, Sekiro, COD Modern Warfare 2019, Borderlands 3, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and RDR2. So now let's look at, if you bought this GPU back in 2019, how was the performance like? In Fortnite with ultra settings, the 1660 Ti achieved an average of 107 FPS and the 1660 Super achieved 105 FPS. In PUBG with ultra settings, the 1660 Ti averaged 81 FPS and the 1660 Super achieved 78 FPS. In Sekiro, the 1660 Ti achieved an average of 89 FPS and the 1660 Super 87 FPS. In COD Modern Warfare 2019, we can see the 1660 Ti pushing close to 100 FPS and the 1660 Super is as close. In Borderlands 3 with ultra settings, the 1660 Ti achieved 60 FPS and the Super achieved 57 FPS. In Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order with high settings, the 1660 Ti achieved on average of 67 FPS and for the 1660 Super 66 FPS. In Red Dead Redemption 2 using ultra settings, the 1660 Ti achieved 57 FPS and the 1660 Super achieved 56 FPS. And as you can see, in those games, both of the GPUs can deliver you over 60 FPS in 1080p using high or ultra settings. Now that was back in 2019, but after 5 years, in 2024, the gaming landscape has changed by a lot. Although Fortnite is still popular, but not as much as it used to be. And the single player gaming market has seen a lot of changes, and I'm talking about some significant graphical improvement. If we look at Steam's hardware survey, the 1660 Super is still the top 10 most used GPU. But why? Why this GPU is so popular? Why after 5 years people hasn't upgraded from this budget GPU? Why even in 2024 people are buying this GPU, and why I am telling you not to buy this GPU? For that we need to test some modern numbers, and for this test I'm only gonna benchmark on 1660 Super. In 1080p, Elden Ring got 27 FPS on ultra settings and 60 FPS in medium settings. The Ghost of Tsushima got 36 FPS on average using ultra settings and 63 FPS on low settings, and Starfield got a 19 FPS with ultra settings and 34 FPS using low settings. And as you can see, these GPUs are not that much capable as they were used to be. Yes, you can still play games, you can still achieve playable gaming experience if you lower your settings to low or medium or a combination of both. And yes, you can use FSR or XeSS to get more FPS, but in 1080p, FSR and XeSS both are not really the best looking. But in 2024 you can still found a 1660 Super. Yes, if you buy new, it will cost you around $100 to $150, and if you buy second hand, it will cost you under $100. But my question is, why people are buying this GPU? Well, because if you want to buy a GPU from from Nvidia and your budget is tight, you don't really have any other option. Not that there aren't any other GPU. Yes, there are GPUs from Intel and AMD. Intel has newer GPUs around that price, and yes, Nvidia did introduce a 3050 with 6GB VRAM that almost has similar performance to a 1660 Super, but this is why I am not telling you to buy this GPU. Although they look very good and appealing option, and if you do play just esports game or you play single player games to enjoy the narrative, they are a good option for 6 months to a year. And if you have one, then I don't think you should upgrade right now. Wait for 6 months to a year. But after that, I don't think these GPUs are going to be a good option. Not because they are not going to able to play games, they will be able to, but the compromises would be much bigger than that. So this is what my suggestion is. If you are planning to build a new PC and you are looking at 1660 Ti or 1660 Super, don't look at them. Look at options from Intel, and if you do want to buy a Nvidia GPU, then look at the second hand market. You'll be able to find a good GPU around that price, but again, you have to look for it. And lastly, I have another option for you. Buy a APU. Some of the new AMD APUs are really capable. Yes, they might not be able to match performance to this, but in hindsight, you will be able to buy a very performant CPU which also can deliver you good gaming because of their integrated GPUs inside. And later, when you saved up some money, then you can buy a good and a proper mid-range. Heck, if you win a lottery, you can buy a 4090 if you want to, but that's not the point. My point is to make your buying decision a little bit smartly. But again, it's your money, do whatever you want to do. I can only suggest. In last 5 years, we haven't seen any budget GPU from Nvidia. Yes, they launched the 4050, but only in selected market and only for laptops. And even then, the 4050 isn't that much powerful. The only viable option for budget gamers from Nvidia side, either you buy a 3050, which gives you terrible value. Yes, it does have ray tracing, but have you ever played any ray traced games on a 3050? You will hate that experience. And if you want to buy a budget GPU, well, to be honest, for Nvidia right now, the budget segment is 4060. Not because they cannot make it or they are having loss with 3050 or any 50 series GPUs. I don't think so. I think this is one of their popular GPU series that they have ever launched, but they are doing this because they can. They have a huge grip in the industry right now. If they don't want to launch any budget GPU under $250, they will just be fine financially as a company. But what they will be doing is raising the bar of budget GPUs. I know inflation is a thing, but for a budget GPU, $300, hey, not everybody has that kind of money because priorities, families. If you are a kid and you ask for your parents to buy you a 30,000 rupees or a $300 GPU, your parents would shout it. They would tell you that why would you need such an expensive piece of hardware to do homework? Budget GPUs are accessible to people who want to get into this hobby, PC building, playing games. I got into comp-sci because I started playing games on a budget Nvidia GPU. I needed to know how games work. I needed to know how computer works. That's the reason I pursued comp-sci. That's the reason I have a master's degree in comp-sci. That's the reason I have this channel. That's the reason I make this video, just because back in the day, I somehow managed my parents to bought me a computer which had a budget Nvidia GPU. And I think Nvidia is robbing the joy from a lot of people of having a PC, playing PC games, tinkering with graphic settings to get the most experience out of your games on a mere hardware you have. Because right now, if you want to buy a PC or if you want to game and you have a budget around $400 to $500, I would suggest you buy a console, buy a PS5. That would be a little bit better financial decision if you just want to play games. So if you have a 1660 Ti, if you have a 1660 Super, let me know in the comment section how it is serving you. And if you are planning to buy one, again, this is just a suggestion, don't buy a APU. But if you want to hey, you do you. I cannot stop you. And if you like the video, hit the like button. If you haven't, hit the dislike. And if you want to see more from us, check out this video right here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, well, do it by here. And this is Akash, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.